Yep, it's winter, folks. Winter can be fun, but it also get a little, well, I don't know, depressing. The gray, the stark, the inches of snow coming and coming and coming. I know we don't have as much up here as some of you folks in the tri-state area, but you got to do something to break up winter a little bit. You got to start thinking towards the sunnier times, towards spring. Hey everybody, it's Migueltio, the North Country Latino, and today I'm looking forward to spring by looking forward to Carnaval. Because Carnaval starts Cuaresma, Cuaresma leads up to Pascuas, and of course this year Pascuas is even later than most years, and it's going to be spring once we get to that. So to get ready for Carnaval, especially in Ponce, I'm making a Vejigante Mask. Now this is basically a mask kit I have here. It's got the little plastic mold under there. And what I've done is lined it with foil to put the papier-mâché stuff over. You know, those plaster strips, I have those. And I'm starting to make how it's going to shape out. Because what you do is you take the foil and you produce the different shapes of the parts of the mask, and then you tape it on. So that when you go and put the papier-mâché stuff on, then you've got your shape started for when you take it off later and it's all done. And it's going to be colorful and everything. We got paints, a whole 9 yards of everything. We're going to make a Vejigante Mask. Well, here's my basic mold. Let me get it where you can see it. I got the two horns down by the mouth. So you pretty much shape your different shapes you're going to put on it. And then use basic masking tape just to have them on there. And there's the outline. And what I'll do when I put the papier-mâché strips on is not, see how I got an outline around the eyes there and everything? I won't put any where I have those red outlines, so that way the eyes will be open. And I'll do something along that same line around the mouth too, so we get a little slit in the mouth. And here are the strips for the papier-mâché, and I know this is going to be a little easier said than done. I'm not fooling myself here. It probably won't look like your $35 mask available in the markets of Ponce or even up in El Barrio. But hey, we're going to give it a shot to overcome those winter blues. Okay, now comes the messy part. You've got your mask mold, of course. You've got your container of water, not too hot, not too cold. You've got your trusty shears, and you've got your long, long roll of plaster strips. And you're going to cut them in strips and place them around. Now, the only place on your mask you don't want to put is on the outer rim, because this outer rim, where I'm tracing my finger is, you got to be able to separate the mask from the mold. So only go as far as the end of the face part when you do that. Well, I've come to the end of my first batch of cutting and making some progress here. The one thing you can't be is fooled to think that this isn't going to be a little messy. It's going to be wet, that stuff's going to be pasty, so you just got to work with it, you know. Don't let yourself be, ew, I can't touch this, you know. You're making this out of papier-mâché, so it's going to get around. You got to have some newspaper down. And, well, it's going to be wet, if anything else. So, we'll see after the next progress report. Well, here we are, and here's the mold. Looking pretty good, if you ask me. Now, I'm going to add a little bit more of the strips to these horns, because I don't know, I just don't trust myself. And I don't want them to be too flimsy, you know what I'm saying? You learn a lot about yourself when you do crafts, or any kind of art for that matter. Here I've got the little strip, I cut them off of the big roll. You do little squares, and you wet it in the water. And I'm just applying a few more of these horns, just to give it some reinforcement. And this is similar to what I remember doing in elementary, especially elementary middle school art, when I was a kid in the 80s. And pretty much anything was go as far as what we made. I think I made a hockey stick once, believe it or not. And it lasted for quite a while. Once I got done, reminded me of something off the Flintstones more than it did actually a hockey stick for any NHL player out there, but one thing you gotta have is patience, because you can't feel like you're gonna be very successful if you think you're gonna whip this stuff on here and have it done in a microwave minute, you know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure you're patient enough to work with the water, to work with the plaster and everything, or else you're not going to have very much. So I'm just kind of fixing some of these horns with a little more strength and reinforcements. I'm going to do the one on the bottom too, because especially this one on the side, because one came out really good, one came out a little smaller. See if I can give the smaller one a little reinforcement off the face. And then you have to really rub them smooth together, because of course the next process is the whole thing drying. And that's what's going to get you ready for this thing to come off of the mold. Got to cover this one side a little more. There we go. There's some reinforcement. And then you got to rub it smooth when you put some over a place that's already been. A lot of good reinforcement on it now. And I think I'm ready to let her dry. I know, not ready for Carnaval yet. Not ready to grace the streets of Ponce, but hey, it's coming, you know what I'm saying? Alright, now we're going to paint the mask, which of course is the final product made totally full for Carnaval, which is almost here now. Most of your Vejigante masks, of course, have multi-colors throughout the different labels of it. You can see the different ones like in this catalog here. You know, you got like 3 colors per mask or so. And I'm going to do something like that. Not obviously copy so much, but make it totally cool. So here's what we got again, all nice and ready to go. And we're going to take some colors and do some things to it. Best thing I think is to have a plan. And I'm going to draw some lines with a pencil here. I'm thinking maybe on this side I'm going to go with some red. Except it looks like most of the masks around the eyes do a totally different color. So I'm going to draw around the eyes, outline a color area there. It will go yellow on that side for a brighter contrast. This side will be red up the face, down to the bottom of the eye, and up the horn on this side. The middle, maybe we'll go with green, right down and down the nose. And then on this side, have to see what I like as far as that eye goes. And then maybe blue up this side of the face and up the horn. So that's the plan to start off with. Red, green, and blue. See what we get. Well, starting with the red here, you have to be really thorough about painting on papier-mâché, because all the little tiny areas, you know, you think you got it covered and some little white crevice pokes through, so you have to really go over it well. Make sure you cover it good. And oh yeah, those little paints they give you, make sure you stir them. Because a lot of times those tiny little plastic paint things come out and they're very unstirred, or they're chunky or whatever, and won't work great if you don't do something about it. This is spreading pretty good on there. Well, now we've got some blue and some red all done. And what I've got to do here is let it dry thoroughly so you don't get any combinational colors. Adding that green in the middle, I want it to go in solid. I don't want it to be blotched in with blue on one side, blotched in with red on the other. Plus down here, before I do the eyes, I kind of made one little blotch a little too far over, so I want to make sure that dries so I can go over it with the yellow and not have green, you know what I'm talking about here? Anyways, we're going to keep on making progress with this thing. We'll see what happens next, hey? Well, folks, there's the final product. All kinds of details and everything. I know, probably isn't as good as the ones on the streets of Ponce. All this mask needs is a airline ticket to Ponce and can celebrate. Well, I hope everybody has a great celebration of Carnaval or Mardi Gras or anything that you happen to be participating in. This is Migueltio, the North Country Latino, saying have a beautiful season.